Uttarkashi, located in the state of Uttarakhand in northern India, has a rich historical and mythological significance. It is believed to be one of the oldest places in the region, with references dating back to ancient Hindu scriptures. The name, Uttarkashi, translates to Kashi of the North. It is considered as sacred as Kashi or Varanasi, one of the most revered cities in Hinduism. Both Kashi and Uttarkashi are on the banks of the holy river Ganges, that is Ganga. The town is situated on the banks of the Bhagirathi River and is known for its temples and ashrams. You can see the meandering river nurturing a whole city when you approach the city by road for a long distance. During the medieval period, Uttarkashi was part of the Gawal kingdom. The region was ruled by various local dynasties, including the Parmars and the Katuris. The strategic location of Uttarkashi on the route to the Gangothri and Yamunotri glaciers made it an important center for trade and pilgrimage. During winter both the roads to the base of the glaciers close and only summer traffic is allowed. Though I made success in going up Yamunotri in winter beginning, I skipped Gangothri years ago. This time I approached Uttarkashi to go up Gangothri Glacier's base in the month May when the road is opened for pilgrims. The bus ticket booth and the share taxi booth of Uttarkashi is always seemed under stress, though you can grab tickets if you tried early. Under British rule, Uttarkashi remained relatively isolated but gained attention as a significant pilgrimage site. The British administration developed basic infrastructure to facilitate the pilgrims travelling to the Char Dham, that is 4 holy shrines, of which Gangothri and Yamunotri are part. The natural beauty and challenging terrain also attracted British explorers and adventurers. In the month May the pilgrim pressure is too high, and if you are not religious, going alone silently as far as possible is better. This trip is by Uttarkashi Gangothri Uttarakhand government bus to and from in one day. The bus starts early morning and back by evening. After India gained independence in 1947, Uttarkashi continued to develop as a pilgrimage and tourist destination. The formation of Uttarakhand as a separate state in 2000 gave a significant boost to the region's development. Uttarkashi became one of the important districts of the new state. Uttarkashi has seen substantial infrastructure development in recent years. Roads, healthcare facilities, and educational institutions have improved, contributing to better living standards for the local population. The town remains a crucial stopover for pilgrims heading to Gangothri and Yamunotri, which are 2 of the 4 Char Dham destinations. Tourism, especially eco-tourism and adventure tourism, has become a vital part of the local economy. Activities like trekking, mountaineering, and river rafting attract tourists from across the world. Despite the progress, Uttarkashi faces several challenges, including natural disasters like floods and landslides. The 2013 Uttarakhand floods caused significant damage to infrastructure and loss of lives in the region. Environmental concerns due to increased human activity and climate change impacts on the glaciers are also pressing issues. The glaciers are shrinking from all sides. Present-day Uttarkashi is a blend of tradition and modernity. While it retains its spiritual and cultural heritage, it is also adapting to modern economic activities. The government and various NGOs are working on sustainable development projects to balance tourism, environmental conservation, and local livelihoods. With improved connectivity and digital infrastructure, Uttarkashi is gradually integrating more with the broader economic landscape of Uttarakhand and India. Uttarkashi is home to several ancient temples, including the famous Kashi Vishwanath Temple, dedicated to Lord Shiva, and the Shakti Temple, known for its large iron trident. The town hosts various religious festivals and fairs, drawing thousands of pilgrims and tourists annually. The region is renowned for its scenic beauty, with lush green valleys, towering mountains, and pristine rivers. Adventure sports like trekking to the Gomukh Glacier, the source of the Ganges River, and expeditions to peaks like Shivling and Meru attract adventure enthusiasts. Information collected from various sources are to be double-checked. Unlike Yamunotri trip done after the pilgrims were gone, this Gangothri trip is dull in summer. River is muddy here, unlike River Yamuna is quite sad. The objective of this trip was mainly to understand the muddy waters of this holy river. Population pressure, power projects, deforestation especially to lower winter cold by people, pilgrim pressure, as ports and tourism come to the queue of the reason, and it's all more than global warming and glacier melting. Actual reason is not clear. You see here the whole way to the Gangothri is inhabited, unlike the sources of other major rivers. Uttarkashi's past is steeped in spiritual and historical significance, while its present is marked by a blend of tradition, development, and modern challenges. The town continues to be a vital center for pilgrimage, tourism, and cultural heritage in Uttarakhand. The Gangothri Glacier is one of the largest glaciers in the Himalayas and is a significant source of the Ganges River, one of the most important rivers in India. Here are the detailed aspects of the Gangothri Glacier. Location and geographical position. The Gangothri Glacier is located in the Uttarkashi district of Uttarakhand, India. Coordinates are more or less between 30° north latitude and 79° east longitude. The glacier starts at an elevation of around 7,100 meters and terminates at around 4,000 meters. The glacier stretches in length about 30.2 kilometers. It varies in width from 0.5 to 2.5 kilometers. The glacier contains a vast amount of ice, estimated at around 27 cubic kilometers. The glacier originates from the Shokamba Massif, which is a group of high peaks in the Gangothri Himalayas. The Gangothri Glacier flows northwest before making a sudden turn to the south, following which it descends steeply. See the speed and turbulence of the river. The terminus of the glacier is known as Gomukh, which means cow's mouth. It is a pilgrimage site and the point where the Bhagirathi River, one of the main headstreams of the Ganges, emerges. Several significant peaks, epic fame too, surround the Gangothri Glacier, including Shivling 6,543 meters, Thalay Sagar 6,904 meters, Meru 6,660 meters, and Bhagirathi group of peaks above 6,500 meters. Other glaciers in the vicinity include the Raktvan Glacier and the Chacharangi Glacier. The meltwater from the Gangothri Glacier forms the Bhagirathi River, why it's muddy, which later joins the Alaknanda River to form the Ganges at Devprayag. Also see my very old video on Alaknanda in this channel. Alaknanda at early stages is not muddy even in heavy raining season. The Gangothri Glacier is a critical source of fresh water for millions of people downstream, yes millions, providing water for drinking, agriculture, and industry. The glacier is sensitive to climate change, with significant retreat observed over recent decades. Studies indicate that the Gangothri Glacier has been retreating at an average rate of about 20 meters per year, largely due to global warming, human activities. Cultural and religious importance. The Gangothri Glacier and its terminus Gomukh hold significant religious importance in Hinduism. Many pilgrims visit Gomukh as part of the Char Dham Yatra. See the many of this day and guess the crowd of 3 to 4 months. According to Hindu mythology, the Ganges descended from heaven to earth at this site, and thus it holds immense spiritual value. Can you say exactly what is that value? That is a number, is it? The glacier is the subject of extensive glaciological and climate research. Efforts are being made to monitor its health and understand the impacts of climate change. Various initiatives are in place to preserve the glacier, including restrictions on the number of visitors and efforts to reduce pollution in the region. Do global warming eat many more money than the warmth it produces? Some say capital yes. Try to get first-hand info. Luck. In summary, the Gangothri Glacier is not only a geographical and hydrological wonder but also a vital cultural and ecological entity. Its significance spans from providing essential water resources to being a revered site in Hindu tradition, all while being a critical indicator of environmental change in the Himalayas. How is it possible to redefine culture when abandon it is only the possible way, not a question but a thought only? Like other glaciers, the Gangothri Glacier was formed through the accumulation, compaction, and recrystallization of snow over centuries. The glacier flows northwest and originates from the Shokamba Massif. The glacier has been a site of numerous explorations and studies since the 19th century. Early expeditions primarily focused on mapping and understanding the glacier's geography and hydrology. Over the past few decades, the Gangothri Glacier has been retreating at an alarming rate due to global warming. Studies show that the glacier has retreated by more than 1,500 meters since 1971. In addition to retreating, the glacier has also been thinning. This means the volume of ice is reducing, impacting water flow into the Bhagirathi River and, consequently, the Ganges. The reduced volume of ice affects the perennial water flow, potentially leading to water scarcity in the downstream regions, particularly during dry seasons. The changing glacier dynamics influence the local ecosystem, affecting flora and fauna dependent on the glacier-fed river. Melting glaciers can lead to the formation of glacial lakes, which are prone to outburst floods. Such glacial lake outburst floods, GLOFS, pose significant risks to downstream communities. Various scientific bodies and research organizations are continuously monitoring the glacier to understand the effects of climate change. Satellite imagery and field studies are used to track changes in the glacier's size and volume. Advanced climate models are being developed to predict future changes in the glacier and devise mitigation strategies. Efforts to address the impact of global warming on glaciers involve international cooperation. Organizations like the United Nations Environment Programme, UNEP, and the International Center for Integrated Mountain Development, ICIMOD, are actively involved. Local governments and NGOs are working to create awareness and implement conservation measures. Initiatives include promoting sustainable tourism, protecting the surrounding environment, and developing early warning systems for glacial floods. The topic came as a subject even in 5,000 km away South Indian primary school textbooks shows the importance of it, mean people are made know about it. While there is no specific, Gangothri Global Warming Fund, various funds and grants are allocated globally and nationally to tackle the impacts of climate change on glaciers like Gangothri. These funds aim to support research, conservation projects, and community resilience building efforts. For example, Green Climate Fund, GCF, an international fund established to assist developing countries in adapting to and mitigating the effects of climate change. National Mission for Sustaining the Himalayan Ecosystem is part of India's National Action Plan on Climate Change, NAPCC, focusing on understanding and conserving the Himalayan ecosystem. Grants from environmental NGOs organizations such as WWF, the Nature Conservancy, and others provide grants for climate change research and conservation projects. See the use and misuse and disuse details of these funds if sources are available with a critical mind. If men can wash away the saffron tint of this long river with less effort than the mighty epic King Bhagiratha, water problems of the Gangetic Plain can be dealt with once again. The Gangothri Glacier is a vital natural resource with significant cultural and ecological importance. Its rapid retreat due to global warming highlights the urgent need for comprehensive climate action to mitigate and adapt to the impacts of climate change, they say. Think of rafting in clear water without going to some other river source. How the system works is not clear at all. How the government see things is only known to the authorities. How will it work if removing temples from the shores of this river without removing the people is a success? This short note is in the first quarter of 21st century. Cleaning the Ganges is cleaning India, and in that way cleaning the whole world. The way may be cleaning it mentally, not spiritually. There is no such thing as spiritual cleaning. It is a lie telling consciously to people nationally and internationally. The population distribution on either side of the Uttarkashi Gangothri Road in Uttarakhand, India, is typically sparse due to the mountainous terrain and the nature of the area being part of a significant pilgrimage route leading to Gangothri, one of the 4 sacred shrines in the Chota Char Dham pilgrimage circuit. Count on it. Uttarkashi town itself has a population of around 17,000 to 20,000 people. As a district headquarters, it has more facilities, including schools, hospitals, markets, and administrative offices. Several small villages and hamlets are scattered along the road. The population of these villages ranges from a few hundred to a few thousand people. These include places like Gangothri, Batwari, Harsal, and Darali. The length of this video is more than expected, but catch more info, you may see with importance. The local economy is primarily based on agriculture, tourism, and small-scale trade. It appeared that the road ends as a blind alley at the long entrance queue to the temple, which cannot be explored more in the religious crowd. Gangothri itself is more of a seasonal settlement due to its role as a pilgrimage site, with a significant increase in population during the pilgrimage season that May to October. Limited to those catering to pilgrims, such as lodges, dharamshalas, rest houses, and small shops. The population density tends to decrease as one moves from Uttarkashi towards Gangothri, reflecting the transition from an administrative and residential area to more remote, pilgrimage-centric settlements. BRO, the Border Roads Organization, leads the path but cannot find how far. The Ganges River, also known as the Ganga, originates in the Himalayas at Gomukh, the terminus of the Gangothri Glacier. River in Gomukh is muddy in appearance. The Ganges begins as the Bhagirathi River, which flows down from the Gangothri Glacier. Glaciers are massive ice bodies that grind rocks and sediment as they move. This process results in the glacial meltwater carrying a significant amount of sediment such as fine particles like silt, clay, and sand. As the glacier melts, it erodes the surrounding rocks, picking up sediments along the way. These sediments include minerals, rock fragments, and organic matter. When the Bhagirathi River emerges from the glacier, it carries this sediment load downstream. The high sediment concentration in the glacial meltwater makes the Ganges appear muddy. This turbidity is due to the suspended particles in the water. The sediment reflects sunlight, giving the river its characteristic milky appearance sometimes, some people say. In our video it's muddy. As the Ganges flows downstream, it gradually deposits some of the sediment. However, the river remains turbid due to continuous erosion and the influx of sediment from other sources such as landslides and other tributaries. Here in this video all the small streams and rivers join the river Bhagirathi flow from mountain tops carrying clear water and confluencing with the muddy water of our Bhagirathi. Unfortunately, Human activities, including deforestation, urbanization, and industrial pollution, have exacerbated the problem. The Ganges now faces additional challenges, such as pollution and excessive sedimentation from human settlements and agricultural practices. The muddy appearance of the Ganges water at Gangothri and Uttarkashi is primarily due to the glacial origin, sediment load, and natural erosion processes, and the contribution of human activities are also there. It's a complex interplay of geological, hydrological, and anthropogenic factors that contribute to the river's unique characteristics. The Gangothri Glacier originates in the Himalayas, a vast mountain range stretching across several countries in Asia. The Gangothri Glacier is located in the Himalayas, a majestic mountain range that stretches across several countries in Asia, including India, Nepal, Bhutan, China, and Pakistan. The Himalayas are home to some of the tallest mountains on Earth, including Mount Everest, K2, and Kangchenjunga. The range is formed due to the collision of the Indian tectonic plate with the Eurasian plate, and it continues to grow taller even today. The term, Garhwal, refers to the Garhwal Himalayas, a sub-range of the Himalayas located primarily in the state of Uttarakhand, India. The Gangothri Glacier is situated within this sub-range. Some of the prominent mountain peaks surrounding the Gangothri Glacier include Sumeru Parbat is 7,318 meters. Bhagirathi Karak is 7,483 meters. Thalay Sagar is 7,046 meters. Shivling is 6,543 meters. Mount Kedarnath is 7,062 meters. Mountain surfaces can vary greatly depending on the specific mountain range and location. Here's a general breakdown. Rocky. Many mountains, especially at higher elevations, have rocky surfaces. This is because they are exposed to elements like wind, rain, and freezing temperatures, which erode soil and expose the underlying rock. Muddy. Some mountain areas, particularly in lower elevations or areas with specific weather patterns, can have muddier surfaces. This can be due to factors like melting snow or glaciers that erode rocks and create mud, soil composition that is more prone to erosion, wetter climates that create muddier conditions. Please mind the following numbers. The Gangothri Glacier is approximately 30 kilometers long and covers an area of about 286 square kilometers, an estimated volume of over 27 cubic kilometer. The glacier is about 30 kilometers long and approximately 2 to 4 kilometers wide. The Gangothri Glacier's thickness varies considerably throughout its length. Here's a breakdown. Upper reaches. The thickness can reach up to 540 meters. Lower reaches. The ice thins considerably, ranging from 150 to 200 meters. Snout terminus, the thickness reduces significantly to around 50 to 60 meters. The Himalayas, including the area around Gangothri, began forming around 50 million years ago due to the collision of the Indian and Eurasian tectonic plates. Pleistocene glaciations. During the Pleistocene epoch, around 2.6 million years ago to 11,700 years ago, Earth experienced multiple glacial and interglacial periods. Massive glaciers likely covered the Gangothri region during these glacial periods. Holocene retreat. Following the last glacial period, which ended about 11,700 years ago, glaciers around the world, including Gangothri, began to recede due to rising temperatures. This retreat has continued with fluctuations ever since. The Ganges was never flown with clean water in history. The river became holy because it carried a lot of water. Not a lot of clear water is a mystery. At present the river is muddy from Gomukh to Sundarbans in all seasons. The 540 meters of ice on the top rocks has weight, and the weight of the ice exerts pressure on the lower of that part melts water and creates an under-ice current of sediment-carrying flow which joins the sedimented melt water of the terminus, and thus the river is muddy. There itself is another story heard on it. But the Ganga is the most important perennial river, originating from Gangothri in the snow-bound Himalayas about 3,900 meters above mean sea level. The mountain surfaces around the Gangothri Glacier in the Garhwal Himalayas will have a mix of rocky and muddy terrain in summer, with rocky surfaces being more dominant. Rocky dominance. Most of the mountain surface, especially at higher elevations, will be rocky. This is due to several factors. Less vegetation. Higher altitudes have sparse vegetation, exposing the underlying rock to the elements. No roots to hold any soil. Erosion by elements, wind, rain, and freezing temperatures continuously erode soil, leaving behind bare rock. Muddy pockets. Muddy areas can exist in specific locations. Glacial melt zones. As the Gangothri Glacier melts, it can loosen and erode rocks, creating mud. This is more prominent near the glacier's snout or terminus. Lower slopes with shade and moisture. In some lower areas, particularly those with shade and higher moisture retention, soil development and accumulation can occur, leading to muddier conditions. Gemini says it's difficult to quantify the exact percentage of rocky versus muddy terrain due to variations in slope, weather patterns, and glacial activity. However, rocky surfaces likely cover a much larger area, especially at higher elevations. Meltwater at higher elevations originates from cleaner ice surfaces, having minimal contact with rock and sediment. This results in clearer meltwater. Terminal melt. As the meltwater travels down the glacier, it picks up rock debris and sediment near the terminus end due to increased friction and interaction with the underlying bed. This suspended material makes the terminal meltwater appear muddy. Although rocky areas dominate, the meltwater flow can be channelized, meaning it travels in concentrated streams rather than spreading out widely with great force at Gomukh. This reduces the opportunity for dilution of the suspended mud by clearer meltwater. The phenomenon is seasonal. As the spring progresses and the snowmelt subsides, the volume of water from higher elevations decreases. This allows the upstream tributaries carrying suspended sediments to re-establish their influence, leading to a gradual increase in the turbidity of the Ganges water downstream. Overall, the melting snow and glaciers at Gangothri play a crucial role in maintaining a certain level of water clarity in the upper stretches of the Ganges River throughout the spring season. This natural process of dilution is vital for the river's ecosystem and the communities that depend on it. During the monsoon season, heavy rainfall across the Ganges basin can significantly increase the sediment load. This can overwhelm the dilution effect at Gomukh, leading to muddy water even at the source. Tributaries joining the Ganges might contribute a lot of sediment, especially after heavy rains. The volume and force of meltwater from Gangothri can vary depending on factors like snowfall and spring temperatures. In some years, a weaker meltwater flow might not be able to effectively dilute existing sediment. Gangothri Glacier is a valley glacier. Valley glaciers are formed by the accumulation of snow and ice in valleys high up in mountains. They tend to flow outward from the accumulation zone following the path of the valley. No historical records found on the avalanches of the Gangothri glaciers. Avalanches can occur in valley glaciers, and they are known as glacier detachments or ice avalanches. Research on Gangothri Glacier melt in modern times paints a concerning picture of receding ice cover. Here are some key findings. Retreating trend. Studies reveal a consistent retreat of the Gangothri Glacier over several decades. Data suggests an average retreat rate of 20 meters per year between 1935 and 1996, accelerating to 38 meters per year since then.